Hey everyone, it's Alex here, and on today's episode of the YaBonks Show, I have a special guest here today. I have Aaron Markham from Neo Masterpiece Films, and Aaron is a longtime veteran of the film industry, and he has decided to integrate film production with Web3 technologies in a new way. Aaron, do you want to introduce yourself for the audience and give a little background about you?
Yeah, my name is Aaron Markham. I am the founder of Neo Masterpiece Films. I've been doing this for close to 20 years now. I started when I was 21, and I've done everything from be an extra to be a director of photography, director, gaffer, pretty much every aspect of filmmaking for the my career. And now I live back in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I grew up, and I do more of the corporate stuff now. I do commercials, music videos, corporate talking head stuff, just more to pay the bills. And I will travel around to LA, Chicago, New Orleans, Atlanta, and do the film production whenever those type of jobs arise.
Very cool. And do you want to give us a brief overview of what Neo Masterpiece Films is?
Sure. So, Neo Masterpiece Films is my attempt at bridging Web3 and the film industry. Uh, the film industry is an incredibly gated industry. You can hear stories of people, heading out to LA and spending 10 or 15 years trying to make it. And
Right?
the furthest they made it was a background in a TV show or something like that. And there is
Yeah.
no other industry in the world that is that gated, that you can go to school and get a degree in your what you should be your job and never even you know get a chance to actually make a living doing that job, but that's fairly
Mhm.
regular in the film industry. So I wanted to use this technology to subvert that, to allow the average person access to the industry, both creatively and financially.
Interesting. Yeah, I that's a story you hear told 1,000 times about the person going out to LA to try to make it big as an actor or an actress, and then and then they come back to their hometown maybe or whatever. And yeah, so I get what you're saying. I actually did have a good friend from high school that I ran cross country and track with, who right after high school did some stand-up comedy, got picked up by an agent, and then was in some movies in Hollywood. So like I know like one success story from my small town where he landed in some big movies with like oh geez, a bunch of big like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and people like that. Anyway, so
It's more luck based than it
yeah,
is like talent based, and that's unfortunate.
yeah, and he got super lucky, I think, because he was in a stand-up show and like nailed it that one night that there was a talent agent there for a movie that was like shooting soon, and they're like, "You'll be perfect for this role," and like it was just a fortunate series of events, and not everybody can I guess get so lucky. So even if you go to
Mhm.
school to be a thespian and drama and acting, you might not get in the door. And same with directing and writing and producing
Mhm.
and all the other stuff you said you've done out there. So interesting concept. Now before we jump into how all of that works with Web3, do you have any news or updates that you want to share with the audience before we explain those finer details?
So probably the biggest thing is I had a film called What Happens at Home that Netflix had approached me about producing fairly early on in the project, and I went through all the steps to get them what they needed in order to produce it, and then it ended up in what I call Netflix Purgatory. It sat there for a couple months,
Mm.
and I finally followed up with them, and they said, "Yeah, we decided we're going to go another route." So now they've presented to us an opportunity of a film called Inherited Sin. It's actually produced in Denmark,
Hmm.
and it is made by a friend of mine named Anton. And they basically said, yeah, the Denmark government pulled funding from the film because originally Netflix was going to buy it. But Denmark pulled funding from the film, but they're still interested in it. So they presented to me like, hey, if you can cover what Denmark was going to put towards the film, then you can be the executive producer. And then more than I never say they are going to buy it, but there's a high likelihood that they will buy the film after we produce it. So we're working towards putting the funding together to get that produced, and that's like the latest update from Neo.
Okay, interesting. Good to know. So, now that we've got that out of the way, and before we jump into the NFTs, I want to ask some questions about your film company. So, first off, what does the name Neo stand for?
Neo, it has several layers, like an ogre. If you watch Shrek, you'll get that that little stick. So Neo specifically means new. So Neo masterpiece means new masterpiece, which represents the new art form of film 3. Neo also represents the art of the NFTs is Neo Tokyo.
Kind of like
So
what you have behind you.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
why I picked. This is actually the background that was specially made for Neo for the NFT banner. Um,
Okay.
and then finally, it represents Neo from the Matrix. It kind of signifies breaking out of the Matrix, and into out of which is the old film industry, and into this new thing. So if you go to onto our Discord, our members are called Citizens of Zion, meaning you've left the Matrix and you've come to Zion, which was this underground city that where everyone who escaped the Matrix went to. So it has several layers to it.
I hear they have some wild parties down there. To reference to those movies, right? It's like the crazy party scenes, and oh man. And also, it's interesting you say that because there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin community that say when you learn about Bitcoin, you get orange pilled, right? So Morpheus gave like the blue pill or the red pill, and Neo took the
Right.
red pill and started seeing the Matrix for what it was and breaking outside of it. And when you learn about Bitcoin and alternative monetary systems to what we're all kind of programmed uh, to live in, then it's like you're getting orange pilled. And now Web
Hmm.
3, like Bitcoin and beyond, into the further reaches of decentralized finance, where a lot of us are now. If you're watching this, you're here already. You've probably already been red pilled in terms of DeFi stuff. And since
Right.
I got like orange and red pilled in terms of DeFi, my life has changed wildly over the past year. I mean, it's not even recognizable from where it was. I'm a YouTuber now talking about DeFi and crypto stuff, and before this, I was just like writing code all day, just as a software engineer and running my animal sanctuary. But now I'm like on YouTube talking to cool people like you, Aaron, and I love it. So I love that reference to Neo and the Matrix and getting red pilled out here as so everybody in your community, they're known as the members of Zion, right?
Yeah. Yep. They're all
Oh,
citizens of Zion. That's what I refer them to. And if you like end up becoming one of our holders, you are a believer. So there's the whole kind of connection to Neo and the Matrix with kind of the branding of the project. Yeah.
now do you believe? So if you're not already in the Discord server for Neo Masterpiece Films, I'm sure a lot of you already are if you've watched James Pelton's AMA, and Pocket Aces did a great AMA also with Aaron. But if you're not in the Discord yet, I'll put the link in the description below so you can join the Citizens of Zion if you so please. Now, with all that being said, do you have any films in progress right now?
So we have The Burden of Guilt, which is in post production right now. That was actually a film that I produced before we actually started the crypto side of the project. It was super low budget. We did it for $15,000. And essentially, it was just a way of us proving that, hey, we're real, we know what we're doing, and that we can do fulfill the cycle. Everybody can make a movie, but not everybody is able to make a movie and then get it actually distributed and sell their film. So we're basically just showing it as a proof of concept for what this company is, and the fact that we can make a film for a really low budget. Because if you come from indie filmmaking, our first films were probably on, we paid them with food. So it was really just a proof of concept to show that we can do what we say we can do. And also at the same token, the average turnaround time for a film is 9 months to a year. And in crypto terms, that is like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have
Yeah.
something to start producing revenue for my holders as we are moving towards the big goal, which is the groomer, which is the catalyst for why I started this project in the first place.
Okay. And have you completed any films yet with Neo Masterpiece Films?
So that would be our first one is The Burden of Guilt.
And that's totally done, and now
It,
you're working on
it's
kind of
like
the
90% done. It's like
okay.
it's the final coloring and doing the sound design and those type of things, getting it like sale ready essentially. So we plan
Yeah,
to present that for sale by January.
I see. Yeah, and in crypto and Web3, things move so much faster where a week is a month and a month is a year. And my
Hmm.
post-production process is me drinking this pot of coffee all night and doing all the post production from now until the sun rises and trying to get this video touched up audio wise, trimming out everything that's not supposed to be here, doing all the SEO marketing stuff and thumbnails, all the graphic design, and have it published between 8 a.m. and noon tomorrow. That's my schedule. It's crazy. And I do it all by myself. I don't have a team like some of these other YouTubers have like a dozen assistants or whatever. I just pull all nighters and just like blast through it. So that's the pace of DeFi. And so it's,
That
yeah,
is our world, though. That's the film world too.
yeah,
Most days on set are like 18 hours.
man, I can relate. So yeah, so you guys are hustling out here then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I also have like most creatives do, but I have horrible ADHD, so it
bro,
actually
dude,
fits me really well.
off the charts over here too. Like, if you couldn't tell already talking to me for as long as you have, like, I am like since third grade, the teachers and doctors are like, that boy ain't right. He's got what we call ADD, and I'm like, what? What's wrong with me?
It
Yeah,
really it fits really well in this realm. Like I can do 18 hours on set because my mind is able to like it's got 20 things to process and it works really well. But you sit me down and edit for like eight
yes,
hours, I'm like, no, my mind fights it the whole time. And I have to
yeah,
just sit there and do the whole thing in 8 hours because if I stop and I walk away from it, like it's like I fight myself to go back and finish that edit.
man,
So
you explained it perfectly with my work process. That's why I said like I have to pull this all nighter immediately after this recording at it's 7 p.m. my time right now. I'm going to, as soon as we're done, finish this job all the way through, and it's going to be like the sun coming up tomorrow. But if I don't, I have to fight myself. I'll get distracted by a million other projects and AMAs and videos, and I have to fight myself to come back to it. So man, we're gonna have to talk more, man. It sounds like we have a lot in common.
yeah, no, I think you do well in this world. I do. It's well built for people with ADD.
Yeah, and going from I was a software engineer for 15 years in a cubicle, like I told you, a windowless cubicle writing code, and I was really great. I was really good at it, but it was like kind of torture in a way for me. Where I took any opportunity I could to be like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" and like bug my coworkers. Like I love talking to people, so this is like so good for
So this
me.
is good for you, yeah.
Yeah. So now, so awesome. You guys have a movie almost done, about 90% there in post production, and so where is your? Do you have a film studio? And if you do, where is it?
It's here in St. Louis.
Okay, so that's
It's
like your
downtown.
main operation. You do most of the recording and everything there.
Yeah, yeah, it's right. If you're familiar with St. Louis, the Arch. It's literally right across the highway from the Arch,
Oh,
and
cool.
that's where the large majority of it. But also with film production is, I would say, probably 10 to 15% is in the studio, unless it's a heavily like green screen film. Most of it's
Okay.
usually shot on set wherever that may be. So on a street or in an office building or something like that.
Got it. Okay. And do you do anything else to generate revenue? So it sounds like you mainly do in-house productions that you then go and you sell or do whatever however that works with like royalty deals with streaming services, things like that. Do you have any other ways to generate revenue? Like, do you outsource any of your production services to clients or anything like that?
Seems you've been doing your research. Yeah, I offer production services for other projects.
Okay.
So it was actually like pulling teeth to get a couple of my friends in who are animators. So because it's Web3, and they're like, I don't know, I don't want to be associated with that scam. So it took a
Yeah.
little while, but I finally got them to come on board, and they specialize in 2D, 3D animation. So we can do, explainer videos or logo reveals or hype videos or, just 3D model creation. So we can do that for other projects to create revenue for Neo outside of just doing the films.
Cool. Yeah, and I think I saw maybe some examples of that on your Twitter page, some like 3D like announcement videos showing like the different benefits of some of the NFTs and stuff, like flying 3D graphics and things like
Yep.
that. And okay. So you guys outsource some of those production services to whoever needs them, and that's an additional revenue source that your film production studio uses to generate revenue. So
Yeah. Have you
yeah,
ever heard of Waifu TV?
I
If
have.
you're in the
I have
DeFi
heard of
space.
it. I have heard of it also because I've done a lot of research on you before this. I
Okay.
saw
Okay.
that you guys have some kind of like partnership or deal with them.
Right.
Do you want to explain
So
that?
we're actually doing 2D like animation for them right now. We're in the middle of creating kind of their presentation hype video for all of the services that they offer. But we also have a partnership with them as a streaming partner.
Hmm.
So some of the stuff that we make that's more of the anime cartoon stuff, we will be giving to them to stream on their platform.
Cool. Okay. Good to know. And that's actually my next question was, do you have any strategic partnerships either in the film industry or in the Web3 space? So you've got Waifu TV
So
and
we have Waifu TV. We have Alpha Mutants. If you're familiar with Alpha Mutants,
I'm actually not.
they
No.
specialize in kind of helping collaborations between projects who are in the entertainment side of Web3. So like music, gaming. There's a couple other ones that do kind of what we do, more on the animation side. But they opened my eyes to the fact that there's a lot more projects out there that are trying to bring the entertainment industry into Web3, and they are helping me to connect with those other projects. We have one called Opus Labs. Opus
Okay.
Labs is a music-based project, and they own a music company in the real world that's been around for like 100 years, and they'll be helping us, score some of our productions. And at the same time, we're creating a project for them. I can't talk too much about it, but we're doing a project for them on the film side for their project as well. And then on the film side, an interesting thing that you would find out is basically everybody has a production company. So, like Kevin, Reggie, Wyatt, all of them have their own production companies. And if you ever
Okay.
pay attention when you're watching a film, you'll notice like during the roll at the beginning, you see like 3 or 4 production companies.
Right.
So, and it just usually means that, hey, this production company handled the editing for the film. This production company handled doing the visual effects. This production company, provided all of the equipment for the film. So a lot of times when we do a film, it's usually several production companies coming together to make the film.
Hmm.
Technically, I would say that pretty much everybody on my film team all has their own production companies that they run. It would just be that when we all come together, it would be under the umbrella of Neo Masterpiece Films. And then we have, I can't call them partnerships because technically we're just connected via agents, but we have
Okay.
agents with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and Apple TV. So, but what all that means is that when we finish a production, we have somewhere that is already open to possibly purchasing whatever it is we produce. And that's usually the hardest part of the whole process, is figuring out how to get the movie that you made and actually sell it. So we have lots
Yeah.
of connections with them, but I can't call those partnerships.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like such a interesting part of the process. Like, do I just call Netflix? Like, hey, I made a
Ah,
movie. Do you want it? Like, yeah. So okay, so you have relationships
yeah,
with people.
relationships. That's a good way of putting it.
Okay, with people at Netflix and some of these other streaming services and places that buy films and
Mhm.
distribute them in some way. Okay. Now, how can a regular person like me get involved in Neo Masterpiece Films? And is there a potential for me to make any money here?
Yes. So we have two sets of NFTs that we offer. We have one set that's called the founder NFTs, and those are essentially a fractionalized ownership of the company. And all that
Okay.
means is a fractionalized ownership is you're the Web3 version of a shareholder. But the upside to that is, because it's in Web3, we can offer more than just like, hey, you hold a share of our company and you can get revenue. We're able to make it so much more than that. We're able to actually include them in the entire process, and that includes, you have access to live streams of you know, uh, when we're on set, you'll be able to watch live streams and things like that. So the founder NFTs are a higher price point, but they are also revenue bearing for the life of the company.
Okay.
You want me to go ahead and walk through the different tiers as we're going?
Sure. Yeah, that was one of my follow-up questions. So we've got tier 1 here, and that looks like it's about $35,000, and then we've got tier 2, which is about 5,000, and tier 3, which is $500, which this would probably be more along the lines of what I would be probably interested in getting. And so do you want to start with tier 1 here? So any of my whales watching, if you are looking at getting heavy into this, tier 1, the diamond pass for $35,000. Do you want to explain that?
Sure. So tier one is honestly what I call it, my whale pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $35,000. I guess so. Let me break this down a little bit further first before I get into it too much. So the way that we do it is, for each of our productions, we're going to offer a 20% piece of the pie, essentially, from
Okay.
whatever revenue we receive. And then that 20% is then broken down via which tier that you hold. So the tier one, the diamond pass, would receive 48% of that 20% share.
Okay.
So I guess a good way of thinking of that is, so say it's $1 million, about $480,000 of that $1 million would get split up amongst the diamond pass holders.
Okay. And you're so if that $1 million was 20% of Neo's total revenue, you're saying. So like let's say Neo does $5 million in revenue, 20% of that would be $1 million. And then so that $1 million or 20% of your revenue gets then split up between all of the founder NFTs, and
Correct.
48% of that chunk goes to the tier 1 diamond pass NFT holders. So that would in that
Correct.
case be 480,000 for them. And by the way, who do we have here? Who's our new special guest that has
Oh,
joined
this is
us?
Stella. Stella,
Stella.
can you wave to the camera?
Stella, nice to
There you
meet you.
go.
So,
She always, every AMA, like, this is the first time I've let her sit with me in an AMA. But if you go back and watch Bonks and James Pelton's, there's at least two times where I'm going like this, and that's because I'm telling her to go away because she wants to come sit on my lap. So I finally caved and let her come sit through the AMA with me.
well, we are honored to have you here, Stella. So thank you. I hope you enjoy the interview. It might be a little boring for you, but we'll carry on anyway. So 48% of 20% of your total revenue would go back to the tier 1 founder NFT holders. And then what else? Are there any other benefits to it?
So I really wanted this to be like something that you would get a lot of access for your investment. And that's something I can do because it's an independent film company. So what we do is, we're going to be doing giveaways probably every month. And it'll be things like, getting to come and do a meet and greet with our actors, or sitting in on a table read for a script, or come and be an extra in the film, or be behind the scenes while we're filming, or expense paid trip to the world premiere. So all of those, what I call intangible benefits, will be NFTs, and you'll get raffled and you can win that intangible benefit, to because and I made them NFTs because, say you win it and you're in New Zealand, they might be like, I don't want to fly all the way to America just to, sit on a table read. And that's fine. It's an NFT. So now you can, put it up there, and it's another way of you to generate revenue, because you'll probably find somebody that does want to do it, that might be in Las Vegas and we're shooting in Las Vegas or something like that. And then beyond that, we also give, every holder is going to get a digital version of the film that will be token gated. So you'll be able to, access it if you have the NFT. And then we're going to do live streams of a lot of stuff. Again, giving as much access to what the process is as we can. If we're going location scouting, I might throw a GoPro on and walk around and look at the locations and let you look at them with me, or set up a camera behind the set as we're filming a scene and let you watch the scene be filmed, and then have people come over and say hi on the live stream, things like that. And then the
Nice.
rest are like, cool things like an autographed NFT of the lead actor, or maybe it will be a concept art from the film made into an NFT, or a concept poster that we've created that we can turn into NFT, and those will just be like randomly airdropped to our holders, um, as we go through the process of creating our films. And then probably some of the bigger things is, if you are a Diamond Pass holder, you will be an executive producer for all of our films. So you'll
Nice.
get a credit in the film as an executive producer, and
Now,
you can use.
if I remember correctly from some of your previous interviews, if you are not doxxed or willing to share your real name, that's off the table, right? You have to have, or
We can
or is
we
that
can
only
give
for
you a
IMD? Is that only
credit.
for
Yeah,
IMDb?
I think it'd kind of be fun to like if we were, credit to YaBonks. But
Yeah.
so in the actual film, like, credit roll, we can give you a credit for whatever you want it to be, as long as it's family friendly. You can't have like
Right.
a dirty screen name. We can't use that. We just won't do that. But
Right.
we will let you use your screen name on the credit roll in the film. But if you want to be put on IMDb as an executive producer, you have to be doxxed,
Okay.
because that's a totally different thing. Because if you are an executive producer and you have executive producer credits on IMDb, now you have something where, if someone else is looking for an executive producer for their film, they can find you and you can get more work as an executive producer. So
I
this is
see.
actually another way for you, as someone who wanted to be an executive producer in the industry. This is kind of an open door for you to do that.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
And
That.
then the last thing,
Yeah.
like I said, you get a ton of stuff. A product placement.
Hmm.
And that can be as creative as you want it to be. We could do, say you bought a Diamond Pass, we could put you on your billboard for your YouTube channel
YaBonks
in a
YouTube
shot.
channel. Hey,
Exactly.
I would love
Or we
that.
could put you on a pair of socks, and your face could be on a pair of socks, or a T-shirt, or a coffee mug,
I'm gonna
or
take notes. I need to get this stuff. I need to get some merchandise.
so
Awesome.
if you own a company and you are a top tier holder, we will, if you so choose, we will put your product in the films.
Very cool. That's awesome. And so I just wanted to clarify a few things. So it says there are only 25 NFTs of this tier available, and that's it?
That's it. There will never be any more.
Okay, and then those benefits that you've listed here, are those like is that like a time limited thing, or is that for the entire life of Neo Masterpiece Films?
That would be the entire life of Neo Masterpiece Films.
Awesome.
So as long as you hold a pass, like you are essentially, I want this to be something that you could pass down to your kids.
Wow.
If I have my way, Neo will be around for 100 years.
Very cool. And as technology evolves, would you, honor these NFTs if there's something beyond Ethereum and smart contracts over here where the NFTs live? Would you honor some kind of transfer if technology takes a shift later and like nobody uses these anymore, like Ethereum and these kind of NFTs? And if there's like some new stuff like 10 years down the road, would you like honor these still and like duplicate them over to whatever new system everybody's using?
For sure. Now, I will say that those raffles, if you win the raffle for like the digital meet and greet, it's
Mm-hmm.
during that production of whatever film that is.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be like you won the meet and greet, and then we made a movie 5 years down the road. You couldn't use it for that one. So it would be
I
a
see.
limited time for those. For
Okay.
the airdrops of like the autographs and stuff, that's for forever. But the raffles are only during that production. They would only be connected to the production we're doing at that time.
Gotcha. So the raffles, the winner gets a raffle specific NFT for whatever event or like meet and greet or trip that they can then, sell to somebody else if they can't use it, or they can use it themselves, but it's only for that specific production that you're currently working on. Good to know.
Correct. Correct.
Now, what tier 2, the platinum pass for $5,000, do you want to explain this one?
So for that one, from that 20% pie that we were talking about, you would receive 31% of the revenue. And
Okay.
then that 31% would be shared among, there's a limit of 125 of those NFTs.
Okay. And then are the additional benefits that we talked about before, are they the same?
They're the same. There's going to be more opportunities to win those in tier one than there would be for tier two, and there's going to be more opportunities to win in tier two than there would be for tier three. So they're
Okay.
kind of like, say, tier one, we might have 5 raffles. Tier two, we might have 2 raffles, and tier three, we might only have 1 raffle. So
Hmm.
there's more opportunities to win those intangible benefits at a higher tier.
Okay.
And
Good.
then go ahead.
I was just gonna say good to know. So if you're a tier 1 holder, you're gonna have more raffles done for your little click here. Your little circle of 25 people are gonna have way more opportunities to win these raffles. And then tier 2 is going to have less than tier 1 but more than tier 3 raffles specific to them for these intangibles.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. All right, and now tier 3, the gold pass for $500, the YaBonks level founder NFT here.
That would get bunks. I'm gonna rename that for you, just for a week though.
And-
Whoa.
yeah, and this is temporary because I am moving up in life. I have upward momentum. Soon, YaBonks will be a tier 2 platinum level YouTuber, and eventually I will be a diamond level YouTuber. You'll see. Anyway, so do you want to explain the tier 3 gold passes?
Yeah, so one of the main reason I did these 3 different tiers was to allow you to have access at whatever financial level you're most comfortable with. And I wanted it to be, granted you're going to get less revenue, but you're still going to get a lot more access to what we're doing than you would ever get outside of out of Web3.
Hmm.
So this is really just a way for me to allow anybody access to the industry. And for the tier three, it's 21% of that 20% share. And instead of a producer credit, you would then get a sponsor or supporter credit in the film.
Okay, cool. and there are only 1,000 NFTs available in this tier. And at $500, I don't think those are going to last long. If there are only 1,000 of them, just from what I've seen, even in a bear market, if you've got a cool project like something like this, wouldn't last too long out here. So I might personally, full disclosure, anybody listening, just to let you know, I might personally get one of these, because I am personally interested in this project. I think it's a cool idea. Full disclosure, I like to announce my biases when I have them, right? So I don't get paid to say anything like that, but if I do like a project, I will say if I'm going to think about getting into it or not. So for only $500, to be a part of something cool like this, and I'm a big movie buff. Like if I ever get recreational time, like I want to sit on the couch, like relax and put on a movie, right? Um, so this all seems very cool. So they would get sponsor and
Thank you.
supporter
I tried
credit.
to make it. I tried to make it a lot more fun than it is like an investment.
Yeah, and I'm
You
a
know,
movie
I
buff.
wanted it to
Like,
be. I kind of,
yeah,
I kind of
carry
think of
on.
it like, what would you call it? Like an excursion. So, like, say you go on a vacation, okay, and you don't even think twice about paying money for an excursion to go, a trip through riding bikes through the jungle and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I wanted this to be, where you're not just paying to, uh, have it a financial investment. And it is definitely that, but I wanted it to be something fun and cool, where you're paying for access to watch live streams of how a film is made, and to watch live casting and things like that, and really get to like uh have an experience as opposed to just an investment.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. As a movie buff, I just love the whole movie magic and the whole process. And like, I love classic movies. I love how movies have been made over the different decades. And it's just it would be cool to have just like a little piece in that, even if it's not super active, just to be like, see your movie, or see your name in the credits of a movie, even as just like just in any way whatsoever. It'd be very cool. And then, okay, so speaking of those additional things, it says additional rewards based on gamification. Do you want to clarify what that means?
That just essentially means that we will do, beyond just like raffles, we might do like a meme contest for our gold pass holders, and the winner of the meme contest gets one of those trips, or
Okay.
gets the live stream access to, or things like that. So it'll be beyond just like raffles. We're gonna do games. That's really all it means. Uh,
Okay.
we might do just like a movie quiz, and you have to guess what movie the GIF is from. And if you win it, you get one of those intangible benefits.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, that's very interesting. And like I said, there are 1,000 of these tier 3 gold pass for $500. And yeah, so that's the easiest entry level one to get in company wide, for all of your productions that you do for the lifetime of the company. And
Hmm.
so those are the founder NFTs. And um is so okay, now we also have the Neo NFTs, and I guess while we're breaking down all the NFTs, we might as well jump right into the Neo NFTs. So can you explain the difference between the founder NFTs and the Neo NFTs?
Sure. So the Neo NFTs will be a different set for each film that we produce. So the founder NFTs basically for us act as like bootstrapping. We use those funds to get, equipment, and to get licenses and all of the main things that we need for the production company, where the Neo NFTs acts as more of a budget builder for those films. And what we're going to do is the Neo NFTs will be fractionalized ownership of the film. And again, what that means is that you will literally own a piece of the movie.
Hmm.
So we will take, a scene from the film and connect it to that NFT. And what we'll do also is, as a way to build rarity, is it won't just be the actual parts of the movie. It'll also be some NFTs will have bloopers connected to them. Some
Hmm.
NFTs will have deleted scenes connected to them, and the only way you'll ever actually see those is through that NFT. So then it becomes a rarity thing where the only way to get access to that is through the NFT.
Okay. And that's per movie.
That's per movie, correct, correct.
And are there going to be different Neo NFTs for the different parts of the production process, like pre-production, actual filming, and post-production, or is it just for the entire film as a whole?
In the end, it's the entire film as a whole. But what we're going to do is we're going to mint a portion of the collection for each stage of production. So instead of us, again, going just like, hey, here's 10,000 NFTs, please mint them so we can have a budget. We want to prove that we're actually doing something. That's always something that I really want everyone to always see. So the first set will be basically to fund pre production. And then once we've done pre production, we will then mint another set to fund production. And then another set after that to fund post production and marketing. So it'll be broken. It'll be one whole set for the movie, but it will be minted out in different sections to fund each uh, part of the production process.
Okay, so you'll split the mints up per film in each stage of production, but the holders of those Neo NFTs, no matter when they minted them during the production, will get the same benefits for the overall film as everybody else in that batch of Neo NFTs, right?
Correct.
Cool. So, yeah, that's an interesting way to raise funds to produce movies and share in the experience and some of the rewards associated with film production. It's a cool idea, man. And yeah, so those are the Neo NFTs. Are those being minted right now for any films currently, or is it only the founders NFTs available right now?
So it's only the founder NFTs that are available right now. We attempted a Neo Mint before Thanksgiving, but we had a couple technical issues that really kind of stalled the momentum. So we decided to just pause it and restart the first round of the Neo Mint back up in January.
Okay. And that will that be for a new movie?
No, that'll still be for the groomer. It'll just be, the people who did mint during that first one. We're gonna give some extra perks for being, for being the very first ones to mint. But it'll still be the same set. It's just we're reattempting it in January. That's all. Just a way letting us build momentum back up and make sure to target focus the right type of investors for what we're doing. I noticed that because we're an NFT and the art, we attracted a lot of flippers
Mm-hmm.
and more of the ones who were just traders, and that is completely not the point of these NFTs. These are more of an investment vehicle. So I wanted to retarget our marketing to make sure that those were the type of people that we are attracting for this project.
Okay, and just to clarify linguistics a little bit, when you say stuff like investment vehicle, I just want to clarify these are not securities in any way,
No, no,
right?
no, no. These are
Okay,
not securities in any way.
not in any way.
Securities would have to say that you are going to get money from your investment. And if there's one thing you learn about the film industry is that, even if you put $100 million in a movie, it still might flop. So
Right, yeah. So there's no guarantee of any kind of profit here. There's a high level of risk, and you're very clear about that, correct? Because this is DeFi, right? And
and it's also
everything.
that's the way the film industry is. Like
Yeah.
and it kind of fits with, the risk profile of people in this, because they understand, like, uh, the traditional investor might not, be interested in investing in a film, because again, it's not like, oh, I'm investing in, it's kind of like the fringe of a tech startup, like.
Yeah.
So
And
it does fit
yeah,
the risk profile for this type of i- investor, or I guess this, what would you even call this?
a,
Um,
a participant getting rewards.
Participant.
I like so
Yeah,
that's kind of how I use it, because these are like, in
holder.
this case, this is a digital asset that gives you unique benefits to a special kind of club that you wouldn't otherwise have access to, and it also gives you unique rewards, whether that's in terms of some kind of sharing of your revenue and different other digital assets, or unique benefits like going on set and getting these NFTs that then give you access to the set or to the live screening or like the premiere or whatever. So it's a funny, you know, spot we're in right now with how all of this is rolling out. This is such a new space. So I just want to clarify for anybody listening, like, this is not like a security. This is kind of a you guys know how it is. It's, I consider these all games basically, but you have something very unique here that I have not seen before. It's kind of like you say, own a piece of Hollywood, and you get an NFT, and you get to be a participant in a film production company, and or just in specific film productions. So you've got both options, and each have their own set of different unique benefits and rewards that you can get. Now, speaking of which, are those rewards, like, for instance, so like the founders NFTs, they get 48% of 20% of your revenue. Does that get airdropped auto magically to their wallets, or do they have to go claim those rewards somewhere manually?
So another thing that we did to basically make sure to separate ourselves from it being considered a security is what we are going to do, and I refer to them as revenue NFTs. So you will be magically airdropped an NFT that represents whatever project it might be. So it would be, so say for the groomer, you would get a poster NFT of the groomer.
Hmm.
And then when we get the revenue produced from that film, we will make an offer to you for that NFT and the amount that you are entitled to from your percentage of revenue.
Okay.
So basically, if you hold, you get the diamond tier, you'll have that movie poster NFT in your wallet, and then when it's time to give out a revenue, you'll go on your OpenSea and you will see a offer for the amount of revenue that you're entitled to for that production.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. That's a new way of doing it, and I like it. Very creative. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Have you distributed any of those poster NFTs for the revenue rewards yet, or is that
Not yet.
going to be coming
So
down the road?
So, Burden of Guilt, we expect to be finished by January. So, that will be
Okay.
the first one that we will send to our founders, is going to be the revenue NFT for Burden of Guilt.
Now, when you say revenue NFT, like, does that NFT contain like Ethereum or USDC, or do you
No,
like?
so I just call it that because that's essentially what you're holding to get your revenue. It just really, it's just a movie poster NFT. But if you don't like, I want to do it randomly so that someone can't just all of a sudden, buy a founder NFT right before we're about to give out revenue for the film and then
Hmm.
expect, to get revenue from it. So it will be randomly airdropped to you to make sure that you are and actively holding your NFT.
Okay, so
So
if you're holding a founder NFT, you will randomly get offered the poster NFT for whatever movie just came out that you just
yeah, it'll
sold.
show up in your wallet one day, and then
Okay.
you'll find out that it's there when we basically announce it.
Okay. And then when you have that poster NFT, how do you sell it to you? How does that work?
We make an offer. So it would be essentially selling it to us. So we would go
Okay,
onto that NFT on OpenSea and we would make an offer for that NFT for the amount that you are entitled to. And then it's
I
your
see.
choice to accept that offer or not.
Hmm. Okay, I get it now. So at some random point in time after the movie is sold and monetized, you guys will airdrop one of these poster NFTs for that specific production, and you'll randomize it so people can't kind of
Just can't
front
they
front
can't
run
game the
it.
system exactly.
Yeah, and then you'll have this founder or this poster NFT for that specific film, and you'll look in OpenSea, and you guys will have an offer already made for that specific NFT to whatever founder it went to for whatever amount that they are entitled to, and then they can just make that deal, sell it, get the whatever USDC or Ethereum you guys are making the offer in, and then they can carry on about their day, right?
Exactly.
Very cool. That's a new process. I have not heard that one before, and I love learning new things.
It was another way that I saw that would very much make sure that we, I get asked the question ever since I started this project. Well, aren't you a security? Like I get that asked that all the time. So
Right.
I have set several things in place to ensure that if the SEC ever came in and did a Howey test, there is no way that it would be considered a security because by making it a security, it automatically blocks out like 95% of the population. And that's the complete opposite of the point of what this project is.
Right. Right. No, I agree. If you want to deal with securities, go to the go trade securities. Right.
Right, exactly.
Almost all of Web3 is a completely different thing. These are unique experiments, and I just love clarifying why certain things are not securities, and so that way there's no confusion to listeners, or if the SEC ever comes and looks at these, they'll be like, oh, okay, so you guys obviously addressed that in these different ways. Cool. Like, I want to be very clear about that stuff, especially as somebody who reports on these different projects in Web3 in this cool, unique fintech space we're in. So, with that being said, I got a really maybe tough question. So, can you explain how fractionalized ownership of movie rights through NFTs works legally?
So think of it the same way as an intellectual property. So say someone, like think of it, okay, Seinfeld.
Okay,
When after Seinfeld was done, you know, being produced and then it was shown on reruns, every time that TV show showed that rerun, the production company was entitled to revenue because they owned the episode.
right.
It's the same kind of thing with a film, and a large production company can't do this because essentially it would be IP entanglement. Like you couldn't do that with Harry Potter or Star Wars or things like that because multiple different um, entities own that IP. So every time that uh, you the movie is shown, you are entitled to a portion of that revenue because you own a literal piece of the film.
So, like legally on the IP, I'm guessing there's like a contract or a document that shows who the owner is. Would the owner technically be um Neo Masterpiece Films, or would it be like fractionalized in some way similar to like real estate syndication, where it's like here like this person's name, and this percentage, in an LLC that owns the deed to that real estate? Would you do something similar that way, or just put it all under the umbrella of Neo Masterpiece Films and then internally just divvy it up?
It would be internally divvied up, but think of it the same way as Board Ape Yacht Club does it. So once that holder owns that Board Ape Yacht Club ape, that ape is theirs. That's their property that they can put on T-shirts and sell it, or they can use it in commercials or put that character into movies, and they own that property because they own the NFT. It's the same way with this. So
Okay.
it would be under the umbrella of Neo, but you own a piece of the actual like scene of a film. I guess is it's the same if it's the same way as if a rerun of a show is shown on TV. It's the same concept that you are entitled to a portion of it because you own a several frames of a movie, or like I guess another way would be like say you own like land, kind of like land rights. If you were to own land rights of something, if something were to be built on there, you are entitled to a portion of it because it was built on your land.
Okay.
It's the same kind of concept for how it works with the fractionalized ownership of a film.
So if some if like a whatever scene is used in like a TV commercial or some other somebody else's production, and Neo Masterpiece Films gets royalties from it, then those royalties would then be distributed to the Neo NFT holder of that
If
specific
of that
scene.
specific scene, correct, correct.
Now, are those scenes randomly chosen for the batch of Neo NFTs? Say there's 1,000 Neo NFTs for this one movie you guys are making. Is it just random? Like what sequences are owned by each NFT, and like whoever gets them gets them?
Yeah, it's totally random.
Okay.
I thought that would actually be fun because you might own like a PFP that's very like rare, or you might have a really common one. But then once
Yeah.
the movie comes out, now you have a piece of the film that might be like a pivotal scene. So
Right.
now
Yeah.
it's much more rare and it's much more valuable than it was when you first minted it. So it changes the game a little bit. And then again, with like, if you own the one that has the bloopers or the outtakes, like the only way anybody's ever going to see that is through your NFT. So then if
Mm,
someone were to, it's kind of like what they don't do it anymore. Back when DVDs had, those extras, like the only way you're going to ever see those extras is if you were to, if the NFT holder were able to give you, decides to give you access to it.
right. Yeah. Interesting. So that's very interesting. I never thought about how that would work with these, and this is specific with the Neo NFTs. The founders NFTs is like executive producer
Yeah,
level, not scene based. If you want to own specific scenes of a production, you have to get the Neo NFTs, correct?
correct.
Okay, and then say I mint myself a Neo NFT for a specific film, I would randomly get a chunk of frames in the movie, and say it's like, the scene where like Harry Potter and Voldemort are like having like the energy wand battle and everybody's freaking out, everybody loves it, versus like some kind of comic relief scene. That would be a randomized factor in here where you could end up with something even more valuable than you might have thought, or you could end
Right,
up with something that's just kind of like, oh, okay, it's just like a random scene. But if you
right.
get one of those like pivotal moments in the movie, and the movie gets huge or just popular, that could be something really exciting. Now, as a Neo NFT holder, would I then be able to go to other companies and be like, I own the rights to this scene. I will sell those rights to you to use it in your production or your movie or your commercial or your whatever for royalties, and you guys can just pay me directly.
If you choose to, yeah.
Okay, interesting. And then you, as the umbrella company that actually
We own the
produced,
film.
you own the
So you would
film.
never be able to go and be like, "Hey, like I own a piece of the groomer, so you should pay me to screen the groomer." That would be
Mhm.
under the Neo Masterpiece Films. But if you were to say, if you wanted to offer your section of the film as something that, again, they could use, like say they're doing a compilation of different like scenes from a different film, then you could offer that to them to use and they would pay you directly.
And you guys would honor that and not like turn around and try to sue people or like do anything like that, right?
Absolutely. That's the whole
All
point of
right.
this.
All right.
That's what big Hollywood would do, and
I was
I
gonna
am
say
trying
this is Hollywood, baby. It's cutthroat out here. All right.
I am trying to subvert Hollywood as much as I can, because as I've said, like if you're in this industry, you do it because you love making movies, not because you love how it's done.
Yeah. Okay, good. I have to ask that because if you don't ask, you never know. And you said you're not gonna do any of that cutthroat subversion stuff to the people you've made this kind of promise to with these contracts. That's what NFTs are, right?
That's all they are.
They're
They're
contracts,
the contracts. Yep.
and you will honor them and not turn around in the court of law and be like, gotcha, later on. So, all right, good to know. I got to ask those questions and I got to get, an answer from you. So if people are concerned about that, they'll be like, well, this guy, Aaron, he said this on camera.
Yeah,
So
he said it
it's,
on camera. He was recorded. And that's a good thing to do.
and I just double checked. It is being recorded right now. So that's good. I clicked the record button. So, let's jump into some of the technical stuff now about how the NFTs are going to work, how the mint's going to work. So, what network is your project on?
The network is on Ethereum,
Okay. And how
or I
many
guess the NFTs are on Ethereum.
Okay. There so this is the NFTs are on Ethereum
Mm.
and you are going to mint the founder NFTs currently, right?
Yes, and I'm also doing that different than most do. So the founder NFTs are direct sale, which means that you aren't going to go on our website and mint a founder NFT. I did this for a reason. You are it, the founder NFTs is a long-term hold. Like if you're going to be a founder, you're going to be with me for a minimum of 9 months because that's how long it's going to take to make a movie, if not longer. So I want you to be as comfortable as possible in what you're doing before you know, make a long-term purchase.
Right.
So I wanted it to be where you can come in and like ask any questions that you have or concerns about the founder NFT before you make that purchase. And then once you make that purchase, then I airdrop you the NFT.
Got it. So I I saw that somewhere in my research that if you want to get a founder's NFT, you go into your Discord server and you create a support ticket and you say, "Hey, I want to get a founder's NFT and join the founders circle." Is that right?
Correct. You could do it on
Okay.
Twitter as well.
Okay.
It's just me on Twitter too, so you could do it through Twitter as well. But most of the action happens in the Discord, so I highly recommend the Discord over Twitter because, like, a lot of the interactions take place on Discord.
Got it. So the Discord link is here on their Twitter page. It's at NeoFilms NFT on Twitter. And then their Discord here, it's discord.gg/NeoFilmsNFT. I'll put that also in the description if you are looking for it. So join their Discord if you're not in there already. And if you want to get one of these founder NFTs that we were talking about, like the tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, go in there, make a support ticket, and Aaron here will get you all squared away and get you into the founders circle with the other elevated members of the citizens of Zion. So, all right. So now with the founders NFTs, my next question is how many are you gonna mint? So there's 25 tier 1, 125 tier 2, and 1,000 tier 3. So there's like
1,150.
1,150. Right. Okay. So those are the founders NFTs. Not many of them available. Now with the Neo NFTs, how many of these? Uh, so are these even available right now? I see it says Neo NFT minting is now live. Is this really minting right
So
now?
it's paused right now. So if
Okay.
you were to try and connect wallet and mint, it would literally say that the contract is paused. So you would not be able to purchase directly through the Minting D app right now. That will happen in January. The only way you could get them is if you were to buy the ones that were minted and that are being offered on secondary. I have a couple
Okay.
in my NFT wallet that I might give away for giveaways and things like that, but you can't mint one of those right now.
Okay, and uh the Neo NFTs that you might be giving away, or you might be able to get on the secondary market, would that be for the burden of guilt, or for was it the
The groomer.
groomer? Which one would
The
that be
Neo
for?
NFTs, this whole set is for the groomer.
For the groomer. Okay.
Yes.
So, what is the secondary marketplace that these will be trading on?
OpenSea.
OpenSea. Good to know. Okay. So, let's see here. When do you have any idea for the groomer, for instance, when that will start paying rewards to holders of either the founders NFTs or the Neo NFT?
It's all going to be based on budget. Because we're using the NFT. We're using the funds from the NFT to fund the film.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, if we mint out really quick, then we can hop right into pre-production full force. But if it trickles, then it's going to take longer. But the average turnaround time for a film is like 9 months to a year.
Right.
So from pre-production to release is 9 months to a year.
Okay. Now with
Um,
the burden of guilt, if I have one of these founder NFTs at the YaBonks tier, $500, uh, you're 90% of the way. You're in post production. You're almost done. You're probably trying to set up uh, avenues for distribution, and you're probably going to start receiving revenue from that soon. When do you think uh, founder NFT holders could expect to start receiving rewards from the burden of guilt?
Burden of guilt, I would expect by February, March.
Okay.
I think if everything's on time right now, so we're expecting to be able to present it for sale by the end of January. We've
Okay.
already presented, the trailer and the first 30 minutes of the film to agents, so they've already evaluated it and they've already started the process for who they might sell it to. So by that time, we should already have potential buyers lined up for the film. So I'd expect uh, February or March. And because it's such, again, it was a low budget thing. We just it's going to be it's valuated at about 300,000 from the agents. So with a something like Netflix or that, if they were to buy it, if they buy something bigger, like say they buy a film for $4 million, they're not going to just hand you $4 million. They're going to give
Okay.
you installment payments for the time that they're showing it on Netflix. But something $1 million and below, that's just a one-time payment. They'll buy you outright.
Okay. Interesting. So depending on how much the movie or the film is going to sell for, can determine how that revenue comes in, whether in a lump sum or in installments.
Correct.
Okay. So, potentially February or March, founder NFT holders can expect potentially rewards coming in from the burden of guilt being sold. And now, to kind of uh, uh, backtrack a little bit, do you guys have any other uh, avenues or any other means of generating income to provide additional rewards or to build the company, aside from the ones we talked about earlier, like selling the films and outsourcing your production services? Do you have any other revenue streams?
Those are our main revenue streams.
Okay.
Didn't want to muddy the waters out of what our specialty is. Our specialty is making productions and selling them, so that's what we're going to provide revenue from.
Okay. Good to know. And do you have any estimates or projections, just guessing, not guaranteed anything, but do you have any estimates or projections on how these NFTs will perform, monthly or yearly or anything like that?
So we always get what are called valuations for our films before we start the production of them. So we're
Mm-hmm.
able to give estimates of what the revenue will be, and those are always like a variable. So like we can say burden of guilt, we got a valuation of 300,000. So that's what we expect from that for sale.
Okay.
The other one, uh, the intentional sin, or the one that I told you about at the beginning. That one
Hmm.
has a valuation of 1.5 to $3 million.
Wow.
it's in Danish, so I don't remember the exact like name of the film. Uh, but the valuation for that is 1.5 to $3 million from Netflix.
Okay.
Then The Groomer, when I was originally pitching it to the big boys before I started this whole project, they were evaluating it at 25 to $40 million for the sale or for the theatrical release of that film. So
Wow.
I can always give you valuations of what it can be, but again, these are films. Like they could spend. You see it all the time where they spend $150 million budget on a film, but they don't make that back. Now, of course, when those
Right.
were evaluated, the valuation was, hey, we're going to make money off of this. Hence the reason that they produced it.
Right.
So um,
Now,
I can.
I remember you were saying something to Pocket Aces about a filmmaking methodology that you use to kind of almost that they use in Hollywood to almost guarantee some kind of amount of revenue per movie. It's like a formula. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Sure, sure. So two of the top independent production companies in Hollywood, A24 and Blumhouse, literally call it the Blumhouse method. And what they do, you can look through our white paper, and you will. It's Inherited Sin was the name of the movie, by the way. I just made sure to double check. What they do is they make sure that they set the budget for their film between $4 to $6 million. And what that does is it ensures that one, they're able to produce a film that is Hollywood level quality. And for two, it makes sure that they have enough money to then market that film for a theatrical release, because the large amount of the money comes from theatrical release. It's the biggest risk, but also the biggest reward. And by setting it at like $46 million, if you do an international release, the likelihood that even at a flop for an international release, you're at least going to make your money back.
Okay.
But more often than not, you're going to make at least a little bit of extra revenue off of your film. And we're using that method because we have several charts and all that on the Discord that show that historically, pretty much every film that they've made that's followed this method has made money. And so it's a proven method for producing independent films. Now, the big boys use a totally different method, but then you're stepping into films that have a $50 million and above budget, and we're never going to go to that route. We are more aiming to be the A24 of Web3.
Okay. So you guys are not going to be joining the Illuminati. That's what you're
Right.
saying.
We're
Is that
we're not going to be we're not
no?
going to be the Web3 Disney. We're not going to be the Web3 Paramount or Fox or any of those. Like there's once you get to those levels, that's when all of the creativity, in my opinion, falls out of movie making, and then you're just making the Barbie movie or Sonic 2 or Fast and the Furious 54. Like that's when it becomes a business and not a creative outlet, which is what films are supposed to be in the first
uh,
place.
man, you hit the nail on the head there with what all the big box office movies are the past many years. They're just repackaged ideas and brands and stories that I'm so sick of seeing the same thing done over and over a million times. I want new ideas, new writing, people to try new things. But I understand they think it's the safe route to go. They know they're
They
going to
do.
make the sales. They know they're going to be able to keep pushing the same merchandise
They
for
can
these
they can
things.
sell Barbie. They can sell action figures off of this movie and things like that. And that's what I hate about the industry.
Yeah.
Like I'm in it because I love to make great stories. So that's the
Yeah.
point. That is what films are made for in the beginning. Um, and yeah, it defeats the whole reason of being a filmmaker in the first place.
I agree. So I love this concept, and that's cool that you do have some kind of a formulaic strategy almost for how to produce and market these. You called it the Bloomhouse method for like
Yeah.
independent films, and that's very interesting. And when I heard you talking about that, I was like, huh. And if it's so successful, then I could see a lot of people wanting to become producers and things like that in movie studios using that method, which is one of the reasons I would like to get one of these founder NFTs, because it's an interesting business model to say the least. And films are magic, really, because you can do something cool and creative and almost just create money out of thin air, right? Like the movie industry is fascinating to me in that regard. Obviously, there can be flops and things like that, but like I've seen some of the profit numbers on some movies, and it blows my mind.
Yeah. Once you get to that international release level, like that's where the real like profit potential comes, is because then you are just really playing a numbers game at that point. And if you have, if you ever notice, uh, most production companies always want to get their stuff shown in China.
Hmm.
Why do you think that is? Because a large majority of the population on Earth is located in China. It's just a numbers game.
Right.
So that it's those type of things, like that's why you go for an international release. If you're even going to bother doing theatrical release, you want it to be international because that's where the real profit potential comes from. But on the other hand, you have to almost spend, if you spend $2 million on a movie, you better spend $2 million on marketing and purchasing theater rights, or else there's no point. If you don't reach that level, which is another reason why we connected with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, because say we don't mint out enough to get a $4 million budget, well then we got to go Netflix route. It's not going to
Hmm.
be as much profit, but at least we have a backup to to still make money off of our films.
Fascinating. And marketing is so important in any business. As a software engineer, I could write a super cool app or make a really neat game, but if I don't market it and nobody ever hears about it, like if I build it, they won't come.
Right.
That's not how it works, and I've learned that the hard way.
Yep, that's
So,
exactly right. So
yeah.
if you to even bother theatrical release, you better at least be matching the amount you put into making the movie in your marketing.
Right. Good to know. And I think a lot of Web3 projects also learn that lesson the hard way. If they don't tell anybody about their project and don't, put effort into marketing it and getting the word out, nobody's going to participate. And I've seen it a bunch of times. And it's like any other business. So, uh good to know you've got a strategy, you've got a plan. It sounds like the business inside and out, from production to marketing to sales. Now, with all that being covered, what do you think is the best strategy for retail participants like me to use in your project?
Um, Me personally, I would go for a founder. The
Okay.
founder NFT has the best profit potential of it, but it's also why it's the most limited. If it was me on the outside going in, I would get a founder NFT to have the best profit potential, as a long term uh, buy. Because if I make this bet and Neo has one movie that is a hit, well now I get to just ride the wave, and that
Hmm.
wave could go as long as the company's around for. So, but if there's a specific film that you see has like really has legs, then I would just double down and purchase Neo NFTs for a specific film, because then you're going to get a better ROI on the Neo NFTs than you are on the founder NFTs. So it's kind of like,
How much do the Neo NFTs cost generally?
so the Neo NFTs are 0.08 ETH, so about $100.
Oh, okay. Not bad. Not bad. That's, yeah, very accessible. That is in the YaBonks range of feasible activities out here. Okay, so in your opinion, you think the founder NFTs are probably the best bet, in your opinion, for strategies in here. But if you see a movie that you think is going to be a real banger, then the Neo NFTs for that specific film at around $100 you think might have a better cost benefit ratio. Did I get that right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how
Okay,
I would
cool.
play it.
Awesome. And just like I said earlier, I am seriously considering one of the Gold Pass Tier 3 Founder NFTs for $500 while they are still available. So, um yeah. Now, with that being said, I have a very special question. I want to know, how did you land the man, the myth, the legend, Carl Winslow, otherwise known as Reginald Vel Johnson? And this guy, if you don't know who this is, you're probably too young, but this is
Too
Carl
young, for
Winslow.
sure.
How did you
You're
land
probably
Carl
younger than
Winslow?
30.
Me? Oh, yeah,
Uh,
no.
so so
I'm 34, and I watch this guy on Family Matters every single week.
well, I mean, if you're younger than 30, you probably don't know who Reginald Vell Johnson is, unless your parents
Yeah,
made you watch Die Hard. Then you might recognize him.
true that.
Monica Butler, who's one of the producers on our team, she does a film camp every summer for kids in the area, and her and him did a film together several years ago, so they're friends. And he came out during the camp while we were running the camp, and me and him just got to chatting, and I told him what I was doing, and like I said, we all feel the same way. Like, he's like, yeah, man, like I see what you're trying to do. Like, the industry sucks. Like, I really appreciate that you're trying to, I don't understand NFTs, but I appreciate what you're trying to do. So, like, how can I help? And I essentially told him, I was like, everyone on my team, we've been doing it for years, but you would never know us if you saw us on the street. Like, you might maybe recognize us for a second or two in something that we did years ago, but you wouldn't know our face or our name. But Reggie, you would. So I really just told him I just wanted him to, put himself and allow me to associate our team with him so that people know that, again, we're not just a bunch of dudes that think we can make movies, and we are actually in the industry, and we're actually um, veterans of this industry. So he's kind of my so when you're making a movie, you always get an A-list actor to kind of be the vehicle for that film, because everyone recognizes that name and they want to go see them. So Reggie is my A-lister.
Awesome. He's a good one. Everybody loves Carl Winslow and Urkel and the whole family. Uh, this is I saw that on your website and I was like, no way, you got Carl Winslow on here. Let me see if I can pull up your team again. Right here. Here we go. So here's the team.
So Monica, right there at the bottom left,
Okay,
she
Monica
was my
Butler.
connect to Reggie.
Got it. And that actually leads in to my next series of questions about the team. So, who else is on the core team? And this might seem like a strange question, but in the Web3 world, this is kind of pertinent when it comes to like accountability with smart contracts and everything like that. And what countries is everybody from?
The U.S.
Okay.
We have a couple in the Discord that are. If you look, Jeff down at the bottom right, he's from the Philippines.
Okay.
My wife is Filipino, so that's actually how we connected with him.
Cool.
So my moderators are Filipino, and Jeff is my community manager. He's Filipino, but the rest of us, we're all from the U.S.
Awesome. And the the team here, you're the owner, you're the guy in charge, and Topher is co-owner, Lilton is co-owner. And do you want to say anything else about any of these other positions on the team?
Um. Pretty much all of the team you're seeing there is my film team,
Okay.
essentially. So they're all basically like most of my team are in their late 30s, early 40s. Some of them are in their 50s. So like Web3 is kind of a scary thing to them. So like when I brought all of them are essentially just friends of mine. They are people that I met through the years as I was doing this, that I've worked together on films with, or so like if you look at Topher and Lilton, we met on a film called How Envy and Jealousy Killed Love, and we did that film together, and we've just been friends ever since. Um, Jack Schneider, he or it was my, I believe it was sophomore year at college. He was my film teacher,
Oh
and
wow.
we were just we became really good friends, and he helped give me my start in the industry. Like he brought me onto some of his productions, and just from there I kind of like I said, I got lucky. I really did. I got lucky. Most people, like, I got that barrier, that door that most people end up, he got me through that door right off the bat just because I made friends with my film instructor in college.
Wow.
um so Kevin, he we did a fan film called Superman World at War, and he played Superman. We made good friends with him, and then just like from there, he's, you ever seen Future Man on Hulu?
I think so. Yes, I actually have. I have seen the first
So
two
he,
seasons, I think.
yeah, so he was Blaze on Future Man.
Okay, he looked familiar. All right, I
Yeah,
got you now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's also on Tyler Perry's The Haves and Have Nots. So he's a working actor out in LA. He's also got his own, like everybody here has their own production company. That's just a weird thing that, because we're not always doing our own productions. We're working with other people, so it's just a thing that happens in LA. Um, and then Wyatt I met because we were doing. Oh, that's right. That's right. When I came back to St. Louis, I started my own production company called The Film Perspective, doing, like commercials and wedding videography and things like that. And he had a client that wanted soccer games filmed. And he's like, I don't feel like doing that. And at the time I was like, I need to take any work that comes down my way. So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll film the soccer games for you. And he loved what I did. He was really impressed with it. And we started working together, and pretty much everybody here that you see on this team was just friends I made as I've made my film journey, so to speak.
Very cool. So all right, good to know. Now, this is kind of a different project because everybody here is doxxed, it looks like. And I'm assuming anybody who will be handling anybody's money is fully doxxed and probably in the United States, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Because my next question is, are you guys KYC'd, and if so, by whom? But it's not really applicable here. But just to ask, are you guys KYC'd by any companies?
I did not do KYC because I we're fully doxed. Like, we have an LLC. You can, if you, I always saw that as, it's just a way to make you feel better, and it's really meant
Mm-hmm.
for undoxed teams. Like,
Yeah.
you can look up that our film production company on the Missouri registration and see, the address and everything like that. So you can find me if you need to, and
Right.
it's really hard to. You can't be anon with a film production company because it's a very forward-facing kind of industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. And just wanted to, put that issue to rest. If anybody's worried about that, everybody's doxxed. You can find Aaron super easily. Just Google him, and good to know. So, how is the team here compensated by the protocol? Now, I know that also sounds strange to ask a traditional business, but for a lot of DeFi projects, people want to know how the team's making money because if that's not clear, then they're probably making money in some sneaky way that's probably not great. Uh, so how are you guys making money just for the team?
So from we get 20%.
Okay.
20% goes to our founders, holders, 20% goes to the team, and then the remainder goes towards our next production. So,
Okay.
and I've also been asked that same question. Well, why 60%? Well, that's because like I don't want this to be where we have to essentially fundraise through NFTs for every film that we make. The
Yeah.
point is to fundraise now, get fuel for the engine, and then let the engine run and sustain itself afterwards. And then the NFTs become more of a thing to allow people to be a part of it, as opposed to we need to sell these NFTs in order to make this film. So
Right.
that's how it works. 60% to fund the next film that we produce, 20% that goes to the team, and 20% that goes to the founders.
Okay, that's pretty cut and dry and easy to understand. And if you do these Neo NFT raises later on and you already have the money necessary to make your next movie from that 60% that you roll over, then any of those Neo NFTs that get sold on top of that can be additional things, maybe like future, like additional
Um,
marketing, or like
so
like car chase scenes, or
yeah, they'd be built into creating a better budget
okay.
or to like amplifying the marketing. They would just essentially be used as a cushion in case, like, and also it could be something where, say, we do have, say, $5 million for a budget for a movie, but we have a couple things that we want to put into it that would up the production value. Well, we need another million. So then we would do a Neo NFT raise in order to do that. So they
Okay.
would really just be basically set as a cushion or to fund towards, like, say we wanted to do a sci-fi. Sci-fi movies inherently are expensive.
Yeah.
So that's not something we could do on like a $4 to $6 million budget. So that would be something that we would have to do a Neo NFT raise to amplify the budget.
Okay, that makes sense. So, in terms of security and safety, who developed your smart contracts?
So apparently finance is well, it's Cyril Kier, which is Casey Consulting, which
Really?
is apparently finance. So they
Yeah,
made my
yeah.
smart contract.
Okay, cool. I am friends with Cyril and talk with him
Everybody
often.
in DeFi is friends with Cyril.
Yeah, Cyril's a great guy, and that's good to know. Okay, cool. Um, and are your smart contracts audited, and if so, by whom?
They are audited by Prisma Shield. So again, through Cyril, Cyril basically introduced me to Prisma Shield, and they were the ones who audited it. And then I had it secondary audited by Comet. So Comet
Okay.
is a company that we were using to offer gasless minting for our NFTs. In return, they offered to do a secondary audit of our contracts for free as part of our partnership. So I just took it just as an extra blanket of security.
Okay, good to know. And do you have any multi-sigs or time locks or anything like that on your contracts or wallets, like treasury wallets?
So that's the one thing that if anybody in Web3, like it in the real world it wouldn't be, but here I could see, because there is no way for me to pay for a film camera or crew in crypto. They're not going to do it. So the money that we make from these NFTs is going to be turned into fiat and then used in fiat for what we need uh, to buy, or the contracts or what have you. So there basically I am the sole owner of the wallets, and all of the fund goes to the wallet, and I control that wallet.
Okay.
That's also another reason why I'm so forward facing about everything, because like I said, like, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. You can find me. Like, I want you to know that, like, that could be a holdup. Again, in Web 2, you'd never deal with that, but in Web 3, I get it. Like,
Right.
there's so many scams and everything like that. But yes, basically, the money goes into the wallet, and then I have to turn it into fiat in order to actually fund the production company.
Okay, good to know. And along those lines, one of the questions I always like to ask are about continuity. So, if something, God forbid, happened to you, like the proverbial beer truck, or if you just decided to go off and do something else, would your project be able to survive without you? And also, do you have a backup plan for those smart contracts? If you're the only one with the keys to those wallets, do you have some backup plan in case something happens where somebody would have that information to be able to access that stuff to keep the business going?
So I have everything in a lockbox, and my son and my wife have access to the lockbox. But Topher and Lilton both know that again, if something were to happen to me, that they could get the piece of paper from my lockbox that has the seed phrase for the wallets and the access to the wallets from there. And again, if something were to happen to me, they would be the ones that would take over the company and run it from there.
Okay.
The upside is we're all filmmakers, so they all know how to make films just as I do. This is my baby. This is,
Yeah.
you know, my so it's all mostly on my shoulders. They help me where they need to, but I'm the one that's doing all the AMAs and, you know, chatting with the community and things like that, and that's the way it should be. I mean, no one's gonna love my baby like me.
So true. And that's great. You've got a backup plan for all of that. And if anything were to happen, you guys would still be able to keep making movies. And are there any other core team members that are so critical that it would be impossible to replace them? Or would that be possible to carry on without any specific member?
I think Coker and Lilton are like probably the two key ones. Lilton he's the connect to all of our agents for
Okay.
Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. So he's a very key player in this whole system. So I don't know that the rest of the team has the same kind of connections he does. So that would definitely be something that would be we would falter on if we were to lose Lilton. But other than that, like actually making movies, and I would hope at that point, you know, Neo has established itself as someone who creates quality movies that already sell to Netflix.
Okay. And do you think that your project will survive if this bear market continues for another year or two?
The cool thing about this project is it is. I don't want to say that movies are, you know, recession proof, but they are recession resistant. If you look at historically, films did better in depressing times. The Depression, World War II, you know, like people use films as an escape,
Yeah.
and they're not going to go, oh, I'm not going to go watch my favorite. I'm not going to go watch Thor: Love and Thunder because, you know, the stock market isn't doing amazing. That
Right.
has nothing to do with the other one.
Yeah.
So in that regards, I don't really consider, you know, bear bull market to the success of our films. It definitely, I would say, I've heard multiple times that if I had launched this project in a bull market, I would have sold out by now, and I wouldn't
Oh,
be, you know, trying.
instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a profile picture can sell out instantly in a bull market. So
Yeah.
the fundraising side of it would be much quicker. And honestly, I don't want that because then I'm racing against the clock. Everybody's constantly expecting me to produce.
Yeah.
So I kind of like having it now in the bear market because uh, movies are a long term thing. Like if you're coming in now, you are here because you honestly believe in the technology and what we're building and, you know, the future of Web3, and not just because you're trying to make a quick 10x. Because
Right.
that is not what a movie is. It's not a quick 10x. It's definitely a longer investment. So I'm happy with building it now, and I think it's the best time to build because I have seen bull markets be initiated in crypto because of an Elon Musk tweet. So, what do you think? One of the first, you know, Web3 films that actually gets critical acclaim, like I could see that initiating a bull market.
Yeah. That could trigger some excitement in the crypto space for sure.
Right. You know,
And yeah.
Facebook changing their name to Meta initiated a whole bull run on video games and metaverses. And again, those are just like superfluous things. They don't really have any value outside of what, you know, a tweet. or a naming
Right.
convention. And I feel like this is really more of a concrete thing that could potentially, in my opinion, show the viability of an actual like Web3 company bridging, the Web2 and Web3 world. We're in a unique position to create that bridge, and I feel like entertainment's going to be one of those. Just like games, music, and movies are universal. It has nothing to do with you know stocks or crypto or DeFi or none of that. Like everyone watches movies.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's also bear and bull market proof, the movie industry, just like you were saying. So I'm out here looking right now for real world type businesses with actual revenue streams and business plans that are somehow linked into the Web3 space that I can participate in with my, DeFi wallets on my decentralized networks where I like spreading out things and playing around. So it's cool now to have a film production company that I can have some kind of exposure to and participation in through Web3. And in a bear market, I'm looking for real revenue streams, real businesses. And this fits that perfectly for me. So this might become part of my portfolio because whether I have to wait another 2 years to get back to that bull market to make stupid gains, I can potentially make whatever revenue along with you guys and have some fun while doing it in something that I personally enjoy more than just about any other kind of recreational activity, which is just kicking back and watching a good, funny movie or something with my wife. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and it'd be such like again, you watch one of our films with your wife, and you could be like, "I helped cast that guy. I voted on picking that guy to be the main actor." Like, it
yeah,
creates a different dynamic. Be that again, it was is not possible in the current filmmaking world. Like, you don't really have a say on who gets cast in a movie, or it could be, I'm gonna allow my holders to choose locations. We might choose 6 locations and let our holders decide what location we use, or wardrobe, or music scoring. Like, there's thousands of creative decisions that go into filmmaking, and you can really just like, if the holders want to be that deep into it, I'm totally for it.
nice. That's a whole different ball game, almost like one of those create your own adventure stories. If you remember
Yeah.
those, it's like, do you want to do this or do this? Go to this page or go to that page, and you kind of get to participate in it. Now, obviously, with the screenplay and writing and stuff, you probably are. I don't know how much involvement the community can have and all that, but I did see a part that on your website that said, "What if I have an idea for a movie? Can I pitch it to you guys?" Are you open to community members participating or pitching their screenplays or ideas to you?
Yes. Yes. It's another way of like again breaking down those doors. I have a place in our Discord where if you're a holder, you basically post on a job board that say you are an actor or an aspiring actor or a screenwriter or a director. Like, put your stuff on the job board so that when we do castings, we're going to consider our holders first before we go out to the public for casting. And that's the same for if you're a screenwriter. Like, I picture someone who wrote this killer script when they were in high school and they loved it and it was the best thing ever, and then they realized, man, it's really really difficult to even like let anybody see this to get this made, so it just sits on a computer, and then they go on and the real world takes over and they become an accountant or a plumber or a computer engineer or something like that. Like, this is
Yep.
your chance to get that script that you wrote in high school and actually have an actual potential of having it made.
Interesting. So what you're saying is there's a chance YaBonks goes to Hollywood.
Now the rest of the community gets to decide. Like,
Come on, guys.
we
Uh,
we take it and we present it to the community and they vote, and then they get to decide what after the groomer. The groomer is kind of a personal thing for me, and that's the whole reason I started it. But after the
mhm.
groomer, it's going to be here's like 5 films that we're considering. Check out the sizzle reel, the one sheet, etc. for it, and then you guys vote and decide what
Hmm.
movie we produce next.
Interesting. That'll be cool. That's very cool. All right, awesome. I like that. So, all right, now that we've covered a lot of that stuff, what do you think is the biggest risk to participants in your project?
The biggest risk is honestly, I would say that not enough people hop on board. That we just like, if we're pushing to get like a $4 million budget and we get $100,000, well, we can't make that $4 million budget movie on $100,000. We're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
completely, reconsider what we're doing and do a different movie that fits that budget. And then beyond that, it would be the flop. But even on
Okay.
flops, you can still make revenue on a flop. It's just not going to be, you're not going to get your 10x. You might get,
Right.
close to ROI from a film or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah,
So,
my biggest risk, in my opinion, is just like, this is an idea that people don't get on board with,
mhm.
and that is a risk that people don't connect with the idea, and that's probably the biggest risk you're going to have.
Yeah.
Come here, baby. Sorry,
No, that's
my daughter
okay.
got herself stuck in her shirt.
Happens to the best of us. All right, so now let's get into the future looking stuff. So, where do you see this project in 6 months to a year?
6 months to a year, I see us finishing the groomer. I see us, 6 months, I would say we are finally filming the groomer, and a year we have it, done and in post production and almost ready to distribute theatrically.
Okay, and that's after the current film is sold in potentially January and February, March. Rewards get
Yeah,
distributed, and then the rest of the year, the groomer's in production, and then at the end of the year, you think the groomer should be done
it should be done, or at
next
least
next year in
next
2023.
year. Yeah, so Christmas of
Okay.
next year, we should be closing in on the production of the groomer. And again, that all is dependent on how sales go, how the budgeting works out. The cool thing was I set out to create the groomer. That was the initial like plan with this, but a lot of other opportunities have popped up since I've started this project, which allowed us to expand beyond just making the groomer for phase one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's potential for other productions to pop up between now and December next year.
Okay. What would your crew be able to manage multiple productions or filming at once? Would you
That
be
is
able
the
to
goal.
coordinate that?
That is the goal. Yeah, the
Okay.
the goal is to do 4 to 5 a year.
Okay.
So we would want to expand it out and have it to the point. Um, you know, the core team is the most necessary for running the overall of the business. But like I said, we
Mm-hmm.
have tons of friends who are directors. We have plenty of connections for gaffers and sound techs and all of that. So that I don't think would be an issue to scale it to have multiple productions going at once. It all just comes down to the funding necessary to scale it to that level.
Yeah. Okay. And where do you see this project in 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years, I honestly see that's when Neo will hit its stride. I think that's when we'll really start to find ourselves in the mainstream. Because by that point, by my plan, we'll have made 2 feature films that will have been released out into the public. So we will have finally like really created that bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. And I have other like, I don't want to call them moonshots, but I have big ideas beyond just like making movies in Web3 that are projects that I would love to undertake from Neo.
Hmm.
Like for instance, I think I talked about this on James's AMA, but the crediting. for the industry is all basically done through IMDb, which in my opinion is like a Wikipedia. You can
Yeah.
put up your credit, and unless someone like this says that you didn't weren't a part of that movie or something, discredits it, then it can stay up there. And there's no way to prove that unless someone disputes it.
Right.
So the blockchain is a perfect way to fix that, to create a crediting blockchain for the industry. So then it kind of helps to remove those like IP right issues and things like that. And that's one of the bigger goals that I have for Neo and changing the industry is building a crediting blockchain for the film industry.
Very cool. Well, that that sounds great. I love kind of breaking apart some of these issues with centralization in certain industries, and especially in the flow of information and the access of information, like Wikipedia, for instance. Like, anybody can kind of change it, but then they can kind of block certain people from changing it. So then it's kind of manipulated in weird ways sometimes, and you don't know really if this is the true source of truth or propaganda or what have you. And with the IMDb, you said the accrediting system can be manipulated in certain ways. You think
For
that
sure,
the the
I've had credits before I'm that were deleted uh, because someone disputed it when I had to legit like show them like on the film that I was in that hey, I'm on the credits. Give me my credit back for IMDb's. So
and
that
how do you
stuff can
know if that
happen.
happened unless like you just happen to check it later on again? Like, and how
Yeah,
long
you
has
have
it
to
been
periodically
missing?
check your credits. That's what
That's
you have to do.
That's crazy. So yeah, blockchain technology, there's another use case for it. If you do that, let me know. I would be glad to talk about that one further on down the road. And I before my final question, I just want to know, so why is the groomer so personal for you?
So the groomer is a human trafficking story.
Okay.
All of the most of the movies that you see on human trafficking is always about the big hero saving a woman that was trafficked, like Rambo or Taken, and it's
Liam
always like
Neeson, yeah.
yeah, it's an action movie. And so the groomer is actually a very good friend of mine. Um, she had a couple too many drinks one night and we got into like a deep conversation, and she told me her story about how she was trafficked by her boyfriend for drugs when she was a teenager, and she ended up being trafficked in Louisiana for years, and
What?
until she was basically saved. And she got like, and I distinctly told her, I was like, that story like needs to be told. um, and I asked her permission. I was like, "Can I tell that story?" And she said, "Yes, as long as you don't like tell all the nitty gritty details. Like, I want you use your artistic license and make it your own film. But yes, you can tell my story." And I took that to heart, and I wrote The Groomer, and it was a personal thing to me. So like when I took it to get produced, and they said that the only reason that I couldn't produce it was because I didn't have a bankable enough name. Like internally, it really made me angry. I said, okay, so this guy can do this film better than me just because he's done more bankable films. Like I've
Yeah.
lived and breathed this thing for years. There's no way that that I could allow him to do that. So I walked away.
Wow. Wow, man, that's wild. Like, I did not expect that at all. So that was deep right there, man. So wow. So that's what inspired you then to create Neo Masterpiece Films and decentralize the film production
It,
process.
I spent a long time trying to figure out how I was like after I turned it down. I spent a while trying to figure out how I was going to, you know, get the budget to make this film. And Indiegogo and GoFundMe and all of those don't really work anymore because they're the same issue. Like celebrities can go on and start an Indiegogo. Like
Yeah.
that's not what it was built for. So I was struggling to figure it out, and I've told this story multiple times before too, but I was watching a live stream of this artist. He was a traditional artist who was, a starving artist. He barely sold any of his art. He decided to turn them into NFTs. And once he did that, he sold one of his NFTs for like $1.7 million. And
Whoa.
honestly, it was a light bulb. I was like, there it is. That's how I'm going to fund this movie. So I started off with just like, I was going to make cool art, which is the what the Neo art is, was the art that I was originally, I was just going to make a PFP and sell it and then use that money to make a movie. But the longer that I sat in the space, I realized like there's a lot more potential beyond that for what I can do here. So that's when I
Yeah,
started to create Neo.
I see.
And it's kind of a mission to, like, what happened to me happens to a lot of people in this industry, where they go, yeah, we love your idea, we'll buy it from you, but you don't get to make it. You're a nobody, dude. Like, that happens a lot. And it shouldn't, and that's something that needs to change.
I agree. So I appreciate you sharing that story with me, and I think we will, when we all see the groomer, we will all appreciate your friend sharing her story with you to share with the world. And I wish you the best. I wish Neo Masterpiece Films the best. I wish all of your productions the best. I will potentially be a founder NFT holder here, and before we go, do you have anything else that you want to tell the audience today?
No, we went really in depth. I think we covered Neo from cover to cover pretty well.
That's my specialty. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking so much time to do that with me. I know we've been video chatting now for over 3 hours almost, and we've, spent time video chatting before that. So thanks for all of your time putting this AMA together with me. I hope it's educational and informative for anybody thinking about participating in Neo Masterpiece Films. I know I had a great time talking with you today, and I look forward to seeing where Neo Masterpiece Films goes.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you for letting me. I had a great time.
thanks, Aaron. Me too. And for anybody watching, look in the description below. I'll put the website link and the link to the Discord and Twitter down there. Go check them out. Join the Discord. And yeah, best of luck to you, Aaron. I will talk with you later, okay?
Appreciate it.
All right. Talk with you later. Bye.